Welcome to Business Mentorship Keepin It Real, where we feature entrepreneurs and enterprise leaders who participate in our guest blog on shareyourstories.online. Today, I'd like to introduce you to Robinson Smith, who's a financial advisor, a speaker, and an author of the book, Master Your Mortgage for Financial Freedom Using the Smith Maneuver. Robinson joins us today from Victoria, BC. Welcome.
Well, thank you very much, Trish. Pleasure to be here.
You know, I have been completely awestruck by your story because one of the things, as an author myself, I was reading in your blog that you had mentioned when you launched your book in November of 2019, you went #1 on Amazon in 22 categories. Holy cow!
Yeah, that was a very nice surprise.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it's a lot of work getting a book out, as you will know very clearly. And there's a lot that goes into it that you don't really know when you're setting out. And a lot of what we did was just making sure everybody knew that the book was coming out. And there was a lot of demand for it when it came out, I think, because Canadians have it tougher than ever. And
For sure.
a lot of Canadians are pulling their head out of the sand, realizing that if they don't make a change with their personal finances, no change is going to happen. And with all that we've got going on, all the uncertainty, there's a lot of interest in personal finance. And so, yeah, the awareness was there, and the desire to learn about financial strategies was there when the book came out. So I think the timing was pretty good.
Well, listen, you took a huge leap of faith because you sold your practice. I think it was, if I have my year correct, 2017 to write the book. And then now you've been sort of helping other folks, advisors and individuals, to sort of learn about the Smith Maneuver. So tell us, what is the Smith Maneuver? Because I know it was developed by your dad, right?
Yeah. It was back in 2018 when I sold my practice to write
Okay.
and hung up my license. But the Smith Maneuver is a financial strategy that was developed by my father back in the mid 80s, so many years ago, whereby a Canadian homeowner has the opportunity to turn their mortgage into tax-deductible interest. As many will know, when we buy our home in Canada, the mortgage is part of, probably the biggest liability we're ever going to take on, and all the interest is non-deductible because the CRA says there's no chance for you to earn revenue with this. It's your principal residence, so you can't deduct the interest. So that's a big negative when it comes to when we compare ourselves to the American, who can deduct a good portion of the mortgage interest. So what the Smith Maneuver does is it converts your mortgage to tax-deductible interest, thereby allowing you to reduce your tax bill significantly, which therefore enables you to get out of your mortgage, your expensive non-deductible mortgage, much quicker, and build an investment portfolio simultaneously, starting now, which simply otherwise wouldn't exist. So it's worth about 300, 400, up to over $1 million, depending on how one implements the strategy.
Now, you must have all kinds of folks from all over the country trying to connect with you. If I was a financial advisor and I wanted to learn more about how I could help my own clients with your particular technique, how do I learn about it? How do I figure it out?
Yeah, www.smithman.net is the website. And we've got the book, Master Your Mortgage for Financial Freedom. We've got the calculator. We've got the homeowners course there. But if you're an investment advisor, if you're a mortgage broker, a realtor, insurance broker, investment advisor, and you're interested in learning more about this in order to be able to help your clients implement the strategy, there's a link to learn how to become a Smith Maneuver certified professional, because we're training up all those professionals in order to help local Canadians implement it correctly, because a lot of professionals have been doing it for their clients incorrectly over the years. So that was my second drive when I was writing the book, is to create this network where interested Canadians could find local professionals or be directed to them to help them implement it correctly.
Well, I mean, let's face it, personal and professional finances is one of the biggest misnomers, right? Like we get very confused. Nobody really knows where to go. We're kind of like poking around in the dark, trying to figure out what to do. Because as you well know, as an entrepreneur, you're trying to do what you do in your own business. And looking after the personal finances is really not top of mind, right? It's kind of that afterthought. So connecting with someone who can really help you develop a strategy, I think, is paramount to everybody's success.
Well, there's a lot of Canadians who don't do anything about their personal finances because it's scary, or it's
Mhm.
boring, or there's life gets in the way. We got kids and we got work and all that stuff, but it is hugely important. And on the scary side of things, the longer someone goes or a family goes without looking at their personal finances, without making a plan, the more muddied everything gets, the more difficult it is to untangle that for yourself. And so making that decision to go speak with someone who can help you is a tough one. But once you do, you get down to the bottom, no matter how scary or ugly it may be at this point in time, you get to the bottom of where you're at. And only then can you develop a plan on how to get to where you need or want to be.
So tell me, what was your motivation for writing the book? Because here you are, you're a financial advisor, you're working with your clients, you're obviously making a huge impact in people's lives. It's a tried and true method. Your dad's been using it since the mid 80s, so it clearly has some strategy behind it. So what motivates you to make that sort of direction and change course and write the book?
Yeah, well, I had a very successful practice out here on the island, and helping Canadians implement the strategy. And what I loved about that as an investment advisor, but what I loved about that was sitting down with these families and explaining what the strategy is, how it works, why it works, what it can do for them. And to see the excitement and the hope and all that, that was fantastic. But it didn't take too long before I sort of maxed out my bandwidth
Right.
with the ability to take on new clients. And so I had all these families as clients, and I was now monitoring their investments rather than getting in front of people and educating, which is what I truly enjoyed doing. So, back in 2018, I made the decision to sell my practice so I could get out to Canadian homeowners coast to coast, and that was a pretty big step.
Yeah, for
It
sure.
was a pretty decent business I had going on, and I remember I took my wife out for breakfast, and I said, "Honey, I'm going to hang up my license and sell the business." And I wasn't exactly sure what the reaction was going to be because we were very comfortable, and the future was known and all that. Uh, so I was a little hesitant, but right away, it was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen. She dropped 5 years off her face right away. And she reached over, she grabbed my hand with both of hers, and she said, "Fantastic, it's about time." Because she's the type of person that believes no matter what you're doing, you need to love what you're doing.
Right.
And she knew that's the direction I needed to go. So she was very, very pleased that I finally made that decision. And then after selling the business, I could focus on the book. I could focus on building out the network of Smith Maneuver certified professionals. Um, and it was probably one of the best things that I've done. Just working towards what I wanted to do,
Right.
right? Which was not help one family at a time, but help thousands of families at a time,
Right.
and get back into the education, the speaking, the meeting with different people, and all the training and all that, which is what I love doing. And
Right.
so it was a fantastic decision, a difficult one that I kind of made on a whim, but it worked out quite well. So I'm very happy.
So tell me, how does somebody become a Smith Maneuver certified advisor? Am I a financial advisor to start with, and now this is a build to my current practice?
Yeah. So you're either a realtor, a mortgage broker, investment advisor, insurance accountant, um, and you're interested in learning something new for your client. As far as I'm concerned, the job of a financial professional is to make the financial lives of their clients better. And if you're not continually looking at what is there that can improve the lives of my clients, then you're not really doing your job. So these people, these professionals are coming to me saying, "Look, I'm interested in offering this to my clients. I know I need to become an expert." And so we put them through a training program, through a course, and then they become Smith Maneuver certified professionals. And so in each city, in each region, we'll have a few mortgage brokers, investment advisor, an accountant, these sorts of things, and they can surround the client, their mutual client, and perform their services, respective services. And the clients love it because all of their professionals now know each other, and they
Right.
know that all the professionals know the strategy. They speak the same language, and so they
For sure.
can envelop the client and help them implement it along the way.
So you've actually developed a system that helps people collaborate amongst
Yep.
various different disciplines, right? And
Yes.
I mean, what a wonderful way to sort of take your own portfolio to the next level, as you say, when you have a number of different individuals who are all speaking the same language and working towards the same goal,
Yeah.
rather
Well,
than being in competition.
no, and it works very well. When I first started out in this business as an advisor, we hadn't really developed our own network at the time. That came along subsequently, obviously, but now the client would have to explain what they're doing to their accountant that they've had for years, to their mortgage broker, and so it was difficult. The communication amongst professionals there, and the training that the client had to give their other professionals.
Mhm.
So this network where everybody knows each other and understands the strategy is really quite effective and quite comforting for the client as well.
So tell me, if I'm a homeowner and I'm one of those people that sort of manages everything on my own. I do my own taxes. I may look to a professional on occasion if I have a question, but I've heard about your book and I've read it, and now I have some questions and I'm looking for some sort of guidance on how I can take my own financial plan to the next level. Is there a service that you offer within your organization where the individual homeowners can ask you for advice?
Well, the individual homeowners are going to need at least one or two of the professionals that we
Okay.
have in our network. The strategy relies on having the appropriate financing. So a mortgage broker who is Smith Maneuver certified professional is critical. It's 99% of the time you need a mortgage broker to get into the right type of product. And then as desired or needed, we'll slot an investment advisor, an accountant, these types of professionals. So there's always someone that they can go to for assistance, their own Smith Maneuver certified professional. And I have had people, find my email from somewhere and send me questions, and I'm more than happy to answer those questions. But I always direct them back to their Smith Maneuver
Sure.
certified professional, because they
Right.
are the ones who are able to take a deep dive into that client's financial position and where they want to go, and they understand best.
Well, and you know what? It just makes sense, right? Because we can't do it all. And if you want to do it properly and get your maximum benefit, then you need to ensure that you're pointing yourself into the right direction and making those connections, right?
Yeah, and there are people who like to do it themselves on the investment side, on the accounting side, that sort of thing, and no one can force them to use a professional. But when we're dealing with investing long term, when we're dealing with the CRA, we want to make sure it's done right.
Right.
And if I've got a brand new Ferrari, I can go to YouTube and I can look up how to do a tune-up on my Ferrari, but I'm not going to do it myself. I'm going to go to a
Right.
professional. I don't want to save $600 or $400 or $300 on accounting fees and risk missing out on lots of
Making a
potential benefit in
mistake.
the future. Yeah. So.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I love your analogy with the Ferrari because, that's so true. There's just certain things in today's day and age that you have to take the leap of faith and put the trust in the professional that you believe in, because, to your point, you can't fix your car anymore. You have to take it to someone who can fix it. There used to be I remember back in the day when my dad used to, fix the car in the driveway. Now, my younger brother's like, "Are you kidding? Like, I'm taking it to a professional. I don't know what I'm doing anymore." So, to
Yeah.
your point,
Yeah, and it's important to look at these expenses, if you will, as an investment, not a
right,
cost. You
right.
know, so it is very important to use financial professionals in all these different aspects, because the advice you get is well worth it, and it ends up saving you significant amounts down the road.
Right. So now you've had the book out. It's been out for a few years. You made this wonderful pivot. You had the support of your friends and family behind you. So now, what's on the horizon for Robinson? Because the machine is well oiled and it's doing pretty well. So what do you see in the future for yourself?
Well, a book update down the
Okay.
road,
Mhm.
but also continuing to build out the network of certified professionals. There are a lot of Canadians still who can use the services of our Smith Maneuver certified professionals, but don't necessarily have them local. So
Right.
need to use them remotely. We've got 67 SMCPs in the network so far, and that's growing. And so I'm going to continue to grow that. But there are also a lot of different things that are happening sort of organically with people or organizations approaching me with different potential strategies, like a personal pension plan for corporate owners. So a lot of different things start to evolve out of this seed that I've planted and watered and sung to, and all of this. As the
Right.
plant grows, different things have been evolving. So it's going to be a continual process of this Smith maneuver financial strategy, where can it slot into other financial aspects of your life, on the insurance side, for example. So it's really quite interesting how it's blossoming.
It's organically taking a new form and shape,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that we do in the guest blog is we ask all of our entrepreneurs to share 3 words of advice. And your 3 words of advice are just do it.
Yes. I hope Nike doesn't come after me for that. But really, when I made the decision to sell my advisory back in 2018, I'd been thinking about it for a while, but I hadn't been thinking about, well, if I sell my advisory, what will I do next? And how will I do it? And I just knew it was time. It was time to do it. I didn't really, my plan was to write a book and maybe something will come of that. But I knew that if I didn't, I guess, burn that bridge by handing back my investment license and selling my practice, that I wouldn't be forced to continue to walk towards new bridges, which is exactly what happened. And it forced me to sort of move on the fly, and that might not be everyone's
comfort
cup of
level.
tea, comfort level. But it really worked out for myself, and so just do it. If I didn't just do it, I wouldn't have done it, and I wouldn't have gotten to where I am today. And I'm not saying that don't stop something and burn bridges without doing any planning, but the more you plan, the more you think about the outcomes and what outcomes you want, and are you going to head there with this plan or that plan, the longer it's going to take for you to actually take that leap and get into it. So at some point you got to say, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the leap.
I'm going to take the leap.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure that there are Canadians all across the country who are thanking you for taking that leap, because they've now been in a position where they are assuming new financial rewards that they had never experienced. So thank you. On behalf of all of those folks, I'd like to thank you for taking that leap and just doing it, because clearly your mandate to help other folks, improve their financial future is really a wonderful goal, and certainly something that a lot of people are realizing. So thank you for taking that leap of faith.
Well, it feels good.
And to our viewing and listening audience, I'd like to thank you for joining us today in this edition of Keeping It Real, where we introduce you to the person behind the logo. And if you would like to join us with your guest blog, please visit shareyourstories.online. Thank you.